Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Monoxide Podcast. I'm here with my co-host, Sean.
Hey, guys. What's up?
And we are back with our first repeat guest, Jacob, a.k.a. Unrecxgnized, a.k.a.
What's up?
What do you want to call yourself?
I'm him, I guess.
He's him.
That's what Charles texted me. He's like, you're him.
Does Charles know you're back on here?
No, I should text him.
I should send him a picture.
Yeah, you
of
should send him a picture.
I should actually make like an AI photo of it. That'd be even funnier.
That'd be really funny.
Yeah, just make you. I don't know. Anyways, no, it's awesome, dude, to have you back
Yeah.
as the first guest. You and your old pal Jack here.
Yes, hello.
Yep.
What do you? I'm just curious. So, you're a photographer as well, I think,
Yes.
right? What's your handle?
Jcytrynbaum. Jcytrynbaum.
Cool. Are you as famous as this guy?
Definitely not.
Definitely not.
No, he is.
Dude, since Texas 2K, Jacob has kind of taken off.
Yeah,
in
a
the
little
last
bit.
3 months, you kind of blew up.
Yep.
You're about to go full-time freelance or whatever,
Yep.
traveling the country, and that's actually why you're here, because
Yep.
you guys are on a 19-day road trip across the country in the brand new Nissan 400Z.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about that catastrophe. How far along in your trip are you?
So we're, what is it,
Close. We
day?
have like 4 more days.
Yeah, we're what day are we? We cut it a little short just because we didn't want to stop in Pittsburgh. We're just driving straight from Chicago to New York. But I think, what is it, day 11?
Yeah.
Day 11, and it's been great. The Z is a little rocket. I mean, I didn't know what to expect. Like, I was kind of worried. It's like it's a 2-seater car driving long distance. Like, I have a 1965 Ford Mustang, and it sucks to drive more than an hour
Right.
in that, honestly. But the Z's been great. We've driven 10 hours. I've driven across the country in Subaru Outback. I've driven in a BRZ. I've driven in a bunch of different cars across
just
the
a bunch
country.
of grandma cars.
Yeah. Well, and Matt's HRE, the Homo Hot Rod. We took that to Texas, 18 hours. But the Z has been the most comfortable car I've ever sat in long term. And with 400 horsepower and weighs nothing and fits all of our bags, it's a rocket. I mean,
Honestly,
this car's nuts.
I think they perfected the car, honestly.
It's almost perfect.
Really?
It doesn't
Yeah.
unlock.
The most annoying feature of the whole thing is when you're trying to get out the car, it doesn't unlock like either doors. You have to either do it yourself or press a button. I don't know. It's
And
so
you
annoying.
can't open the trunk if you stop the car and just like try to open the trunk. It doesn't open from the outside or the inside. So you have to turn off the car. Little things though. It's like otherwise the car's perfect.
Yeah,
it's great.
They packed enough trunk space in the
Yep.
little 2-seater car.
Yeah, it's kind of. I was surprised because you told me to bring like a small duffel, so that's what I did. We could fit another bag in there, honestly, if we really
Yeah.
wanted to.
Yeah,
but like
I think
now
so.
we can actually still see out the back, which is
Yeah.
kind of surprising.
Yeah, the transmission, everything feels amazing.
Yep.
It's honestly, they did a great job on that car for sure.
And you guys have the manual one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
of
oh
course.
yeah,
Yeah.
6
Of
speed.
course.
Yeah.
Dude, I like the black on there. Me and Sean were
It's
talking
great.
about this. Is
Oh, yeah.
that it looks so much better in black because it hides that rectangle grill that everybody's bitching
I
about.
don't like the grill, honestly. I was like, that's the one thing, but the black actually looks really good on it.
It's clean.
And yeah, I think it's the black's like, I don't like black on a lot of cars.
I like the grill.
You like the grill?
I think the grill's
I think it could be better. It's like it's not like
I get the grill.
It's a
It's
little-
a throwback.
Yeah,
It's
it's
big.
a throwback.
It's-
Exactly. The whole car's a throwback. I mean, the backlights look like the 300ZX.
I love the back end.
You
The
know.
back end of the car is amazing.
which I get it, but that grill could have killed this car, and here's why. Because you remember when we had that like Tupac hologram or whatever, and
Oh,
they
yeah,
gave
oh,
him
yeah.
like abs or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
of course.
They could have killed it like they killed holograms. Like it
Yeah.
would have just ended the Z line
Yeah.
right there. It was
Yeah.
dangerous what
Yeah,
they did.
it was.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a great car, and I think they're selling for so much right now. But
How much are they?
What are they?
They're like,
MSRP in Canada, sorry, I don't know the conversion, is about 60 grand
So
Canadian.
like mid 40s US.
Yeah,
like I think it's
mid to
45.
high 40s.
If you can get one for MSRP
What's
right
the
now.
markup though?
I think
In-
the markup's like in America like 10, 12 G's
Yeah,
right now.
In Canada, I bought the car in Quebec. There's absolutely none in Quebec, maybe 10 if you're lucky. And I have to say, there's the car MSRP is 60 grand Canadian, and you could easily sell a manual black on black one for, I would say, over 80.
Yeah.
Easy.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Easy.
But I
Wow.
think once the price comes down, it's gonna. I hope it kind of doesn't turn into like a WRX or BRZ in terms of there's so many. But I feel like if there should be like enough of them, because it's not going to limit them. They've never said anything about limiting numbers. So I think it'll turn into really like once the price goes down, it'll be more achievable for most people.
I just saw Sean converted Canadian to US on the screen. And
yeah.
it said-
So if anybody wants to know, $1 Canadian is 75 cents to the US
Oh,
dollar.
there you go.
There you go.
I have to point out, so you're our first Canadian on the show.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So
welcome our northern brother.
Thank you.
he's basically Minnesotan at this point. So,
Basically.
how far is Quebec from here?
18 hours?
Yeah, I mean, you have to drive here, Chicago. Well, I mean,
No,
if
you
you're
could-
going
if you drove straight, it'd be 18
it'd be
hours.
18 hours. But the way we're doing it now, we're going to Chicago, which is another 6. Let's
Six
say.
and a half,
Yes.
yeah.
6.5, and then Chicago, New York is another 12, and then New York back to Montreal is 6.
Yeah. So 20, the whole another day of driving.
Yeah.
But not
Guys, it is late in the day. This is too much math.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't math good either
Yeah.
way. But no, man, I'm excited to have you guys on here because it sounds like a rowdy trip. You guys
Yeah.
have already gotten, pulled over twice?
bad.
Yeah, twice.
Yeah.
One time
Which isn't bad,
first
honestly.
Time, no, first time I got let off the hook.
Yeah.
I was being nice. Second time, we were in Wyoming, and the cop was just, some redneck guy, and he was just like, I'm pulling you over speeding. And then he gave me a ticket.
It's like,
so-
what's the rush?
Yeah, he comes up to me and he's like, "What's the rush?" Like, he sounded like
exactly
DJ Khaled.
it.
Let's golf. Like, I don't know.
That was such a good impersonation.
Yeah.
Oh no, yeah.
The most
it's a great
redneck cop
American.
I've ever seen. It was like,
Oh
oh,
my
my
God,
god,
yeah.
it's a state trooper, and like we like passed him doing the speed limit, and then Jack like I don't know, like half a mile later sped up. I guess he turned around because he thought we were gonna speed, and then we did. But we weren't honestly. What was it? He wrote you for 18 over, but originally he said 14 based on the math. So he definitely wrote you higher, but the fine was like no points, $150. So it's like in Colorado, that's like a $500 ticket with 6 points. So,
Oh, boy.
Thank
yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Points don't convert from Quebec to Wyoming, so it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're good.
No.
Yeah, so I'm curious. Insurance rates, is there a big difference between here and there? Would you have any idea? Like, what do you pay for insurance?
I mean, I don't really know, to be honest, but I don't think there's that big of a difference. I think it's kind of all the same.
Yeah.
How many pesos?
If I had to say, I would think 3,925,039.
Quite a
So
bit.
let's
Approximately.
do that math real quick. Pesos to USD to Canadian.
Pesos
Yeah,
to
I,
USD.
Let's see.
I have no idea how much a peso is. 'Cause I saw a video the other day with like $1 million bill for some.
All right, so 1 Mexican peso is .058 United States dollars.
I think
So
so.
about
A
6 cents.
A nickel.
I
Yeah.
think-
nickel.
Yeah.
Huh,
Wow.
interesting. I think your math
Learn
was a
something
little
new
off,
every
but-
day.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Wow.
I love it.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Well, tell me a little bit about, because like again on the last podcast you can only get into so much. Tell us a little
Right.
bit about your journey, because right now you're going full freelance.
Yeah.
Again, your following's exploded. Your
Yeah.
videos are fucking phenomenal.
Thank you. Yeah.
So just jump off of that.
Yeah, I mean, I've only really been in doing shoot. Like I've always been in my cars like since I was 11, honestly, or like 11 or 12. I remember I was like, I wanted a Ford Mustang. I like bought one at Hobby Lobby, like the plaque on the wall or whatever.
Yeah.
And I remember, and it's 7 years later, I actually bought one. But 2-ish years ago, I kind of got into shooting cars just because I was like, I remember the first shoot I ever did. This kid named Braden Whitaker. He reached out to me and he was like, hey, I like your stuff. I had like 400 followers at this point. He's like, hey, I like your stuff. You want to come shoot with me? And this kid had like 2,000 followers. Like, oh my God, this is the biggest photographer
I
ever.
remember those days.
Yeah. And so I was like, and we shot a BRZ and I was like, this is the craziest thing ever. And from there, I kind of just got into it. I started shooting my buddy's WRX, which was one of my best early shoots actually. And then I got to shoot my friend's 720S with their 570 and their 67 Mustang. And I was all over the Mustang. I didn't care about the McLarens, of course, but that's just me. But that's kind of when it was like, and then like Mike Ward, which is our local dealership, like commented on it. I was like, I thought it was the biggest thing in the world. I was like, oh my God, they're commenting.
Yep.
And like, I thought they were going to hire me for a job. Of course, they did not do that because, well, how old was I? I was like 15, almost 16 then. And, and then I kind of just kept going with it. And I just kept meeting people and it kind of snowballed into a lot of these, bigger shops in Colorado just started, reaching out to me. And at this point, I'm still in high school. I can't go work a full-time job,
Right.
and then COVID hits and I actually make a feature film. And, because that's what I was kind of into at that point. I still, long-term, I want to be like a, feature film director or TV shows or whatever. But for now, I love cars and I love doing, video and photo with that and putting those together. It is something I see myself doing for the rest of my life, but I also think I want to branch out a bit. But, going into kind of my junior year, I got reached out to by a company called Blue Chip, and going into during COVID, they reached out like, hey, can you come work for us, blah, blah, blah. And it never happened. And, but these guys are like the guys in Colorado. They have the most hypercar. I mean, they probably have $100 million worth of cars or whatever.
At any given time.
At any given time and every time. Like today, they just got a CGT, a LaFerrari, and a 918. Like I saw in their story. It's like, they do crazy stuff.
They just traded it in. They're getting divorced. They're
Yeah,
trying to downgrade.
exactly. But it's nuts what they have. And, so long story short, they reach out again during my senior year, and they're like, hey, can you come work for us? We need a full-time. I'm like, I can't do full-time, like, because I'm in school. I'm like, there's no way. And they're like, okay, can you do part-time? I'm like, let me see. So I go to my school principal. I'm like, hey, I want to go work. I think school is pointless because, by the way, I've always maintained like a 4.3 GPA with like no effort. I'm like, hey, can I just like not show up as much? They're like, you need to show up like 80% of the time. I'm like, that's not going to work. And they're like, okay, 60%. I'm like, that's not going to work.
He's negotiating.
Exactly. I'm negotiating. I go to a small school, and I kind of like did this on purpose because I knew they were a little more lenient. And I'm like 51%. And they're like, all right, fine. So 51% is what I got. I ended up showing up 63% of the time, which, pretty good. And I maintained a 4.6, and I was number 11 in my class rank. That's what I graduated with while working full-time hours at Blue Chip. And I did that for like the past 8 months until about a month ago when I left. I told them I was leaving because I'm going to school. I'm going to film school in the fall in LA. And I told them from the beginning, I'm like, I'm willing to do this for so long. But I have to leave at the end. And so that's kind of where I got a lot of my credibility. Because at this point, when I started working at Blue Chip, I was at 7,000, 8,000 followers on Instagram. And their whole thing was you can't post anything. You can't, not our stuff, not other people's stuff. You can't do anything else in state. So I kind of was like, okay, not in state. Got it. I went to California a lot. I flew out to California probably 6 times during this, and that's when my content started exploding. I started shooting with some of the, like Private Ryan, he's a big Lambo guy in LA and all that. And so I started posting their videos, and all of a sudden, the most views I got at this point were like 23,000. Then all of a sudden I post a video, I forget which one, but it got 500,000 views. And I was like, oh, this is crazy. And then I post another one and it gets 1 million views. I'm like, wow, this is nuts. And then all of a sudden, all my videos are averaging 100K, 200K, 300K. And I'm gaining so many followers. And when I met you, I was at 15K. And 3 months later, I'm almost at 40, 45, something like that. And so it's like, it's been it's just been exponential. I've told people that for a long time because I've grown. That's kind of what I did for Blue Chip. I grew their accounts. And I've done this before. I did this for my mom's business. I've done this I actually grew an account when I was, I think I was 13. I grew my buddy's account to 500,000 followers on Musical.ly when that was still a thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so that was kind of, and he got verified and like, crazy stuff. But it's like, so I've been doing the social media stuff for a long time. I've kind of understood the algorithm for a while. I've done my TikTok to 100K and I was like, but then I realized it was pointless. So I deleted TikTok. But it's like, so I just think, I love creating the content but that's part of the reason why, because I had a choice because I wasn't going to go to school and I got into school very last minute because I was waitlisted because, film schools, they accept 20 kids a year. I mean, these top film schools, and I'm so grateful that I got into number 5, which is, was my second choice. So I'm pretty stoked about that. But, I had to kind of decide at one point, am I going to go to film school or am I going to keep working? And, my boss at Blue Chip, he was like, I'll give you $20,000 a year to go to Boulder, which is a great school. But if you're from Colorado, it's like you want to leave. You don't want to go there. It's that's like going to, community college in Colorado. But a lot of my friends are going there. It's a great school. But he offered me like to pay almost half my in-state tuition and, to stay for another year or two. And I just couldn't do it because I realized I love shooting a variety of different cars and I love posting it for people to see.
I got dreams.
Exactly. And so that's kind of why I left because, if you saw some of these photos of just what they have, I mean, they have the Cobra that won Sebring in 66. Like they have 4 LaFerraris, they have 2 918s. I mean, at any time, there's so many cars. Like they have a 288 GTO. I'm trying to think of the others. I mean, they have a 4.0 RS.
Weren't they an RWB dealer?
So they're a Gunther Works dealer now.
Oh, Gunther Works.
No way.
Yeah, so we just got our first one, and well, they did.
I was about to say.
I'm not with them anymore. I don't know. We still talk though. My boss, it's so. I'm not gonna say too much about it. It's a great business. They do great work, but the management was just messed up. It was like, I don't know. The guys are all great. I love everybody there, but it was just like there was no communication. I just couldn't. Right. That was like half of the reason I left. I was like, I just can't deal with. I'm getting yelled at for something that I didn't know I had to do because you didn't tell me I had to do it. But you're putting it on me. Like you need to tell me in advance. That's like any good business. So I don't understand, why they didn't want to communicate or whatever. And they were like, oh, you're real. Like I got every day. I was like, either this photo's bad or it looks like AI. And I was like, great, thanks guys. Like, but I was doing, and then all the comments were like, oh, this is the best work I've ever seen out of this page. But I'm like, well, there's something not mixing. And he hired me to grow their social media. and he wouldn't let me post. He's like, he had to micromanage everything. And it's funny because now after I left, he's texting me like, hey, how do we post? Blah, blah, and they're posting every day. I'm like, if you would have let me do this while you were there, you would have seen the same growth that's on my account. And I think he's seeing now, because ever since I left, I was doing it while I was there, but I really started doing it once I left. I'm just trying to grow my own account, trying to grow my own brand.
That's where I'm at right now too with Monoxide. Like you were at 15K in Texas 2K.
Yeah.
I was at what, 13?
Yeah,
I
you were
think?
just under me, and then you passed me for a while.
Yep.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden I posted a video actually before. Yeah, it was before 2K. I posted a video of my Mustang, and it sat at like 10K views. I almost took it down, and it blew up to 5.7 million. That got me like 14,000 followers. And so that was and that's what I like shot past you. I think that was like a month ago. But it's like, it's crazy how much it can change overnight on Instagram. It's like their algorithms. People blame the algorithm, all that. It's like if you make quality content over and over and over, you're gonna win. Like you have to win eventually. It's like, but I think I was telling somebody this yesterday. It's like I posted 800 or 900 reels before I got 10,000 views. And I took down a lot of those because I realized, oh, this isn't good. Like, this is not my quality standard. But it's like, think about how many times, I tell people this all the time, you have to try, and you're going to fail so many times. But I remember the first reel that got 10,000 views, and I was like, that's odd. Like, I was stoked on it because it took 900 tries. But then after that, I think I posted 150, 200 videos since then. And look where I am. I'm like, my highest viewed video is 5.7 million, which is nothing to laugh at. I know some guys get 100 million views, but that's the next goal, 10 million, 20 million. It's just like, I think the goal is just to keep growing. And it's like the metrics, as long as you're having fun with it, like the numbers don't matter. I get it's a business at the end of the day, and we're trying to make money, but you kind of just have to, if you don't love doing it, then don't do it. You can find other ways to sell yourself.
Class dismissed.
Yep.
No, but honestly, that is something to be said for that. By the way, I love your energy because it's like you're like a mirror to me.
Yeah.
Like we just go on these long tangents that actually make sense most of the time.
Yeah.
But there's a reason. It's like you did hundreds of reels. You're not gonna like. That's why we're on episode. This is 24 on the podcast, right? Like by the time we get to episode 100, it's gonna be a completely different thing.
Yep.
The quality's gonna get better.
Yep.
Like as long as you're willing to invest into growing your stuff.
Yeah.
It's.
To start, I went 20 grand in debt to start photography because I asked my parents like, hey, will you give me money? They each gave me like $200. I was like, oh well. And so yours expensive. So I had to. I broke even once I started working at Blue Chip, but before that, I was kind of like, I was still in a lot of debt just because I wanted to do this, but I knew it'd pay off. My parents were like, you need to sell your stuff, you need to get rid of this debt, blah, blah, blah. And, all of a sudden, overnight, it literally, because like I remember Blue Chip reached out, and then, 2K happened, and then there was just a bunch of stuff that like lined up at once, and I made the money back like overnight in a month. It was like, after honestly, it's been like 5 years of just like, because I've been doing photography for 7, but I really only like bought my first camera and all this gear like 5 years ago, and then 2 years ago started cars. But it really took a long time, and I think that's why a lot of people fade out. A lot of people, I just see a lot of people with a lot of potential, but it's hard.
They can't stick it out.
You have to have the work ethic for it, and it's like you just have to keep grinding on it. And that's what a lot of people don't do, because they either realize they're not passionate enough about it, or I get the burnout. I used to get burnt out a lot, and it helps when you have a lot of followers actually, because you start getting likes and views and people commenting being like, this inspires me. And that's my biggest motivator, is when somebody DMs me like, hey, this inspired me to create blah blah blah. Like that gives me motivation times 10.
So here's
it's
the fucked up part. So I actually had this exact conversation. Well, actually, I was going to say exactly who it is. I'm Derek Nightfall. So I had this conversation with him today, because he's in that kind of position where it's kind of difficult. Like, you have nobody supporting your work.
No.
The algorithms are just kicking your ass. And he has good work. Like, pre-algorithm, he was crushing it.
Yep.
He'd smoke me. But at the end of the day, I told him one of two things, and there's another thing I should have told him, but it's okay to step away for a while.
That's what I did.
Unless you're not living off of this, you got a full-time job. You can make it work, and you can come back accordingly. I took like a 3-month break in 2021 because this one photo shoot, dude, listen to me. This fucking photo shoot, it took me 3 hours per photo to edit because
oh my god,
because this car wasn't clean. So we were driving it back from California.
Geez.
And I wanted the photos to turn out good. This guy flew me out for free, so I wanted to make sure that I gave a good result. So there's this one photo, and it's like the blue just isn't looking right because it has all this, hard water spots.
Yeah.
And then I did that time, I just burnt out. I fucking hated it because somebody like a few weeks prior basically said like, dude, you're kind of cheating your clients unless everything's absolutely perfect. And that fucking stuck with me in my head.
Yeah, I get that, but and so I had a buddy tell me the exact same thing. I understand what you're saying, but I've kind of learned to embrace, like, the car is in the state that the car is in when you're shooting it.
That's why, we just shot the Z over there and had the bugs. It's like, dude, this thing's road tripping.
I feel like the character, though, that's kind of something I've learned to embrace recently. It's like, I'll clean up the ground and stuff, and I'll clean up, like, if I want it to look super clean, I just shot McLaren and Banff, and those photos are going live tomorrow, and I really hope it breaks the internet because they're nuts. And,
Can I see them after this?
Of course. Oh, my God. They're best photo. Like, it's funny. Before this, I was like, people ask me, what's the best photo you've ever taken? I'm like, I don't know. I have a definitive answer now. It's
really?
This wide.
You really think it's that one?
It's the wide shot. It is the wide shot. I mean, it's like
I forgot you were there. He's been talking for so
Listen,
long.
I'm not a car photographer. I do mostly street photography because I like the story behind it.
Yeah.
Like of roads?
No, of
he
like,
loves the grain
people.
on the. He likes the rocks on the roads, like and potholes. Potholes are big.
I love potholes. Yeah, I love weird characters. We were just in Winnipeg. Sorry to change the subject. We were just in Winnipeg. We were just in Winnipeg. Oh my God, it's the homeless rate is double the national average in Canada. I've never seen more characters.
There were two people shooting up heroin like in front of us.
Oh my God, it was amazing.
Crazy.
They were sorry, it's not amazing.
This is so funny. But like this is the passion. I was telling him this. Like the passion he has for street photography is exactly the same of why we have for cars. But it's like I love the photography community for that reason. We all kind of translate the same passion, no matter what it is. I think it's so interesting that yours is street photography and stuff like this. But I get it, and explain it. It's interesting.
There were these two kids. I don't know. They must have been.
I don't like 20s. Where this is going.
Early 20s, whatever. And they were in the bus stop. And,
okay.
I saw a bunch of needles, whatever. I took that photo and I edited it. I was like, wow, like what a story this tells, That's what I love about it. Listen, I don't really do car photography that much. We did the shoot of the McLaren in Banff, and I already posted my photos. Those were amazing. I thought they were epic. Yeah. I've always been into cars, but never the photography portion because in Montreal there's a lot of car photographers. And
but they're spotters. They're not photographers. They're spotters.
It's weird. They stand on this one street right in front of.
We got that too.
yeah, and they just like take photos of people coming out of like the
I get why that's like you
it's
get
a good beginner practice.
Well, yeah, but I also think it takes away motivation from some people just because I see some of these spotters pulling better shoots than the good photographers.
Same conversation I had today.
It blows my mind. I'm like, this guy pulled 2 LaFerraris in Colorado. Nobody's ever done that. Like this, there's this one. Oh my God,
listen,
this kid drives me up a wall.
It's all the fame.
So this kid took my job after I left, and he's like bragging to me about it. I'm like, dude, you have 2,000 followers. I don't care about follower count, but I'm like, dude, he does, and he's like, oh, I'm gonna have more followers. You blah blah blah. I'm like, dude, you have 2,000 followers. Your photos are trash. Your skin tones are black and white. He literally desaturates skin tone. Like if a person's in a photo, he takes away their color. They're black and white, but everything else is in color. I'm like, dude,
what's wrong with that, eh?
It's bigger than black and white.
Dude, I love it. Let me just. It's a weird look, and some of his photos are pink. I'll show you after this, but some of his photos are just straight up. He takes the tint and just 100 pink, and it's like
this is another first on the podcast. This is our first shit talker.
Look,
listen.
This is the one kid because here's the thing. He'll text me 24/7. Hey, can you give me a shoot with this? Hey, can you give me a shoot with this? I'm like, one time I text him, hey, can you give me a shoot with this guy? He's like, fuck off. That's what he said. I was like, what do you mean? It was like a mid car too. I was like, I need it for a brand shoot. And I was like, he's like, fuck off. You don't deserve me. I'm like, what kind of world do you live in? And it's so funny. My old boss and him are like identical twins and they butt heads all the time, but he hired him. And I was like, and then my other buddy who was working there, also so talented and super underrated and all of that, but he's incredible. And he's like, I'm going to quit because he's here. And so I think he's actually going to quit, but it's like, it's so interesting how I get why, that kind of takes away from a lot of people tell me like, oh, I don't want to shoot cars because there's all these kids on their iPhone and they're going to get, 100,000 followers faster than I will. I'm like, well, that's
you got to do it because you love it. That's part of it.
That is part of it.
Because again, it's different when you do it full time. And here's the thing. I've noticed something that with people that go full time, they either are incredible or they only do 80% of the work, which is still fantastic, better than 90% of people out there, but they still have a quantity to get through, which is a little difficult.
That's I'm in the middle of that, honestly. It's
which is reasonable.
Because it depends on the shoot, honestly. If it's, it just depends. That's why I really only take on shoots that mean a lot to me. And it's like the end result's going to mean a lot to me and I'm going to be proud of it because I won't go shoot like a Subaru even if it's $1,000. It's like, oh my God, I have a story for you.
A story within a story. I like this.
I have a better story. So Charles, Charles, we love Charles. I'm kind of still irked at Charles for this. It's not his fault, but I'm still a little irked. He owes me. So Charles sends me a text. He's like, hey, I can't make it to the shoot. You know, it's tonight. It's $1,000 and it's an AMG GTR. I'm like, great. That sounds awesome. So I get my buddy. I'm like, hey, we're going to do rollers, blah, blah, blah. I'm like $1,000 to shoot an AMG GTR. It's a yellow one. It's perfect spec. This is awesome.
Well, you haven't seen my dad's, but okay.
Okay. Well.
No, that yellow on the AMG is pretty spot on.
We show up to the shoot, and it's a C63 with AMG badges wrapped in hentai.
That is the greatest car of all time.
I kid you not. And the guy does not speak English. I'm like, he did. He's like, all he said to me was, he's like, I want 2x1 H.265 12-bit. That's all he said. I was like, how do you know these terms? I'm like, okay, can you move the car over here? He's like, he looks at me sideways. I'm like, okay. So by some miracle, I got this shoot done. And he's like, we're on top of a mountain, and homie takes the car. He's like, he won't go fast the whole shoot. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, can you go around this corner? Like, go around the corner slow. He's like, yeah, I got it. He sends his corner so hard. The tire literally, I see the tire almost deviate. I can see it at the point of deviating. Whatever. And so we get back down the mountain by some miracle, and he's gonna be. I'm like, how can you pay me? He's like, Venmo. I'm like, great. And so that's like, he didn't know. He literally, this guy knows no English. We park at the bottom. He parks. He hits the curb, goes up it, backs up, and goes back on it. He totally bent his rim. He gets out of the car, looks at it, puts it, gets back in, goes back up the curb, parks on the curb, gets out. He's like halfway on the curb. There's one wheel still off the curb. He gets out, Venmos me, and leaves.
He has his own drip.
So this is and I'll show you the car. Awful. And so it's. Do you know what March 7th is? Do you know what March 7th is? It's an anime. I don't know.
No, it's not.
What is it?
I don't think it's an anime.
It's an anime. No, it's an anime.
I know
so it's an anime about a guy.
I don't think so.
Look up the March 7th theme song.
I don't think it.
Actually, I don't trust this.
I don't think that's an anime.
No. Because so this guy, he's like, I'm like, what song do you want? He just sends me this link to a song of a girl. So it's an anime about a girl with a camera. She's like, I'm gonna take photos of everything, and this is the song I had to use for this. I don't know what this kid is a Boulder kid, but this is like Boulder, the school I was gonna go, my boss tried to get me to go to. This is a Boulder kid, by the way. But so I understand. So Charles thought it was an AMG GTR because the guy said it was an AMG GTR, and his profile picture is him with a yellow AMG GTR. So I'm like, I don't blame him but he said, dude, and there was a C7 Corvette. I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool, but the windshield was shattered. I was like, what am I looking at right now? Like, I gotta show you the video because it is.
I want to see that.
It's actually a banger video. I literally filmed some of the best footage. If that was the AMG GTR, it'd go viral. I kind of honestly, I want to take Jaden Smith's icon and make a funny video of this car.
Is this on your Instagram?
No, I have not posted this. I don't know if I will, honestly.
I think you should. It adds character to the page.
Look,
that's the thing. You need to have character on your page. I don't delete almost anything on mine.
I like having character, just not characters on the cars.
Exactly.
I'll show you after, but it is it's a piece of work. But so Charles sent me this shoot, and I'm like, Charles, you can never send me to it. I think if it was I saw it when I was pulling. I think it was anything less than $1,000. I would have drove away. I would have been like, I'm not here for you. Bye. It was the most so that's like my most interesting shoot experience ever, quite honestly. It was like this guy he would not go fast. If I have a video of him, he cut off this guy, and he was the worst driver I've ever seen, and he didn't understand. I literally pointed right and he went to the left lane. I was like, dude, what do you he went to the wrong lane, and then he went on the wrong side of the road.
This is the rowdiest podcast we've ever done, Sean. Hey, Sean.
Hey, Harris.
Do you need a roofer?
I could use a guy.
Well, I'm glad you agree. I saw your roof. You definitely need a roofer. And guess what? I think we know a guy. Do you remember Eric from the podcast a million episodes ago?
Yeah, of course.
Well, guess what? He is the Twin Cities' finest contractor. All right? He'll get you taken care of because this summer, Minnesota being Minnesota, it's going to throw hail at your roof. It's going to have tornadoes throwing shingles off your roof. You know what? You don't know what's going to end up there. And he's going to get you taken care of because when you Google Solaris Roofing, you're going to see 5 big, beautiful yellow stars, and they're going to be telling you that he does not take a no when it comes to perfection. So you're going to reach out to him, either going through Google or you're going to go to solariscos.com. And let me tell you something, Sean. Are you going to reach out to him?
I'm gonna reach out to him today.
Well, I'm glad you answered that way because, buddy, you need a new roof. This is so fucking rowdy.
I mean, this kind of reminds me of our Eric episode.
This is like our Eric episode, but more structured, I feel.
But it's like
We
the
can
guy.
keep shit-talking.
I have to. I'm not shit talking this guy at all because he was so nice. He was He was so nice. He was like very. He was patient.
What
and
language did he speak?
I don't know. I'll be honest. Because he only.
We
spoke
don't want to
English.
assume here.
No, he only spoke English to me. But he was speaking to his buddy, but I could not figure out what language it was because he's Asian. But I don't know. Honestly,
All right, that narrows it down to about one continent.
Well, here's the thing. I understand. I actually know a little bit. Like I can understand Chinese. 'Cause my buddy taught me it a little bit.
So they're all the same. Okay.
No. I don't think he was speaking Chinese. I'm pretty sure he was speaking Japanese. Just cause it's weird. My buddy actually, when he was in 9th grade, he took college courses in Japanese, Chinese, and Korean, which is kind of nuts. This kid's a super genius, and he looks like Ted Bundy.
Well, I've seen that movie.
Yeah, a little strange. But yeah, if you see, we took his license and put it next to a picture of Ted Bundy. Identical twins.
He's gonna be Ted Bundy in 4 different countries.
This is what I'm doing.
Really opens up the demographic, I suppose.
Yeah. But anyway, the guy was so nice. I mean, it was like I couldn't have asked for a better client in terms of being nice and understanding and totally.
Sure.
He's like, how long will it take? I'm like, I don't know, 2 or 3 hours. He's like, perfect. I have all the time. You can do whatever.
I go to Chipotle.
Yeah, exactly. He was like, you can do whatever. He was the nicest guy, and afterwards he was super, he had his buddy translate or whatever on text, and so, he was super nice, but it was the weirdest experience I've ever had with a shoot, and I think half of it's because I was expecting an AMG GTR, and a hentai car showed up, and I was just thrown off for the first I couldn't stop laughing for the first 5 minutes. He was laughing too, though. He was because I think he knew that what I thought it was. I think that actually, that's what it was. Yes, that's exactly what it was, but it was I don't know, some show, whatever.
Just
I'm curious. I want to know what you have to show me.
So here's the thing.
I might be able to tell you if you show me the picture.
I'll show you.
Okay.
So I'm trying to figure out what he was using the video for because I think it was maybe a school project or something. Just based on the way I couldn't tell you. Let me pull up this picture real quick.
I don't know what kind of school project that is.
Boulder's a weird school, man. Let me be real.
Welcome.
Let's see if I can find this.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
It's right here. AMG Blue Final. That's what I named my Google Drive. Let's see. Oh, he wanted me to shorten the video. I still have to do that, but
How long ago was this?
I don't know, like right before I left. So maybe a little longer. I told him it would take a minute though, because I'm busy.
Like recent?
Yeah, very recent. Oh my god, this is super recent.
Oh,
this was like
3 weeks ago.
That was like a month ago maybe, but yeah.
So he's gonna potentially see this podcast and the highlights from this and be like,
Hey, if you're hearing this, you were super nice. I just don't like your car very much. I'm sorry. So here's the car.
Okay, hold on.
I'm just curious. Did you grow up in Colorado, or are you from fucking New York or something? Because you're direct.
Look, I grew up in Colorado, but I learned to be direct. I used to be a little bitch, to be honest.
This is a Genshin Impact car.
Can I see?
You have to
It's
listen
a
to this song
Genshin
too.
Impact car.
Dude, it's.
Hold on.
Let me be real. Okay.
Hold on.
I don't hate the car. I actually thought it was kind of drip because it's unique and low key was fast. When he actually hit it, because it definitely had a tune.
Yeah.
When he finally hit it, but oh my god, the looks we were getting, dude, I felt so embarrassed.
Let's take a photo.
Yeah, let's take a photo.
This is what's the game developer's name again? Oh my god.
So here's the thing. Here's my
I'll tell you.
theory. I think his dad owns the game or something.
It's the game. There's multiple of them. There's Honkai Impact. There's Genshin Impact.
I'm pretty sure his dad's loaded because
Here, just play the
yeah, you
video.
gotta play the video.
Let's see.
Just play the video. Listen to the music too.
I forget the game developer.
It's so
I'm such
funny.
a nerd.
Oh, gee, that's exactly what I was envisioning. Funny
Yeah.
enough.
It's exactly what you think it'd be.
I can get with it. It's
I personally could not drive that.
It's just like
more power to you.
It's just like Lil Uzi Vert's Audi R8.
yes, it's
Yeah.
exactly like that.
Here's the thing. If it was slammed with wheels and had a carbon kit,
It's a work in progress,
low-key,
man.
I'd be down for it. But it's kind of stock. The interior, oh my god, the interior was just full of they were I don't even know.
Condoms?
No, not condoms. It was something. I don't know what it was.
Plushies.
It was plastic bags or something. But it was blue plastic bags. I was like,
You know, you're gonna throw up if you go in the car to drive.
They look like doggy bags. I was
the
like,
curb
what the
set.
hell?
That video is phenomenal,
Dude, it was kind of goated.
I love your work, man.
Thank
Like,
you, thank
yeah.
you.
You can
I've been improving recently because I finally decided to sit down. My buddy Ronan project. Have you seen Project Ronan? Ronan's project. He has
No.
2 accounts and they're opposite names. Kind of, I told him to delete one of them, but
Yeah, figure it out, Ronan.
I know. That's what I told him. His name's Chris, but he's amazing. He's like, you need to learn color grading. Like, I see your stuff and like you could be better. I'm like, fine. So I sat down and did it, and all of a sudden everybody was like, wow, your colors are amazing. How do I do this? Blah blah blah. And so color grading has been like, I think it's changed my work because like the videos kind of look the same, but the color grading changes a lot. It's kind of like it makes the visual so much better.
I posted in automotive photography education, the Facebook group chat or whatever, like the one that has like 8,000 members or whatever. I posted my first shot out of this camera, this new one that I got, the RD or R6 Mark II. And I'm like, yeah, guys, I mean, I'm really tired. The color grading isn't perfect or whatever. And it was pretty good, but it like, again, as you're the most critical on yourself. And it got like 250 fucking likes in a Facebook group.
Wow.
Which is more than Instagram.
Yeah.
But fucking, it was just, I mean, and a bunch of comments. People were like, bro, this guy's saying that it's not perfect. Like, everybody's just like, oozing over it. And I'm just like, all right.
Oh, wow. People are so picky. People think my stuff, like I posted, I posted a photo of a 964. So, okay, another story. Blackhawk.
Oh, another one. I thought you were out.
The red
I know.
964.
No. Yeah, the red 964, Blackhawk. Crazy helicopter. Really cool. I didn't know how quiet they were until we were shooting this 964 in the middle of like nowhere. All of a sudden, you hear, I'm like, you could barely hear this. I'm like, what is that? I turn around. There's a Blackhawk 500 feet from us. It's silent. I'm like, where did this? It was in the trees. I was like, it just came out of nowhere. And then all of a sudden, it's just like, and then gone. It was like, honestly, it literally spawned. But then we like moved the car and it came back around twice. And I got this photo of it with the Blackhawk like in the background of the 964. Everyone thought it was AI. They're like, generative fill, AI. I'm like, it's killing me. It's like that's the one thing that's kind of like irking me because I work so hard on photos and then people are like, oh, it's AI. Like, good job. I'm like, no, it's killing me, honestly. Like, that's the one thing that, like, it doesn't get to me, but it makes me sad because, like, especially for young creators who are trying to do it, because it's like everybody like, especially for these smaller creators, because if you're actually trying to do real photography, they're getting beat out by these AI photographers because people think it's real.
Which is great, but you know what, Buckaroo? You're not working on film. Fuck you. That's real photography, Sonny.
Right.
Yeah, well.
You're not in that dark room.
I've started shooting film recently because of my buddy Angel.
Of course you did.
Yeah, of course I did. I'm hopping on the trend.
I want to get into it. I just use the film.
It's
preset.
actually literally his preset is like film preset North Borders done.
It's so good.
It is a good preset. I bought North Borders presets.
He uses it.
I use it on my Fuji photos because it actually but here's the thing. Any preset, I just use it. Like, I built my own base presets, and people keep asking me to sell them, but I think that's the dumbest thing ever because make your own stuff. But, I built my own base presets.
Says the guy using presets.
I built my own preset because, like, here's the thing. When I was starting out, I bought like $500 worth of presets. Bad idea. But I built the preset that I used, like I have like 5 or 6 presets that I use just depending on the situation. I built those from those presets, but they're so different. I actually still have the original ones. I look at them. It's so different, but it's I think presets are awesome if you want to use it to get rid of like half the legwork of just the basic stuff. Because there's a bunch of little things that just like it's pointless because it takes hours to figure out when you first do it. And if you could just do the preset and then figure it out, that's what I kind of did. And I don't think it's cheating either. I think using presets is fine. That's your choice and it's your work. But going back to the AI thing, I actually think it's a really cool thing if you say it's AI. I think if you disclose that it's AI, more power to you. It's awesome. Like, honestly, it's the coolest thing ever. I think it's awesome that you can take a car in a parking lot and put it in the Swiss Alps. But if you don't disclose that, it's kind of like and there's a line. It's like it's digital art. Like at that point, honestly, if you're replacing 100%. More than 50% of the image, it's digital art. 100%. Like I think removing water spots and stuff. Some people even say that's cheating, but I don't know. I think that's fine. But at the end of the day, I think it turns into digital art at some point. There's a fine line between an actual photo and digital art, and it's fine either way. Just be honest about it. There's a lot of people lying about it right now.
So you're basically telling everybody to change their Instagram bio from photographer to digital artist.
Pretty much.
No, but yes.
He is.
It's pretty. I mean, it's right though. It's 100% right because at a certain point,
just be honest. Like some people. Here's the thing that hurts the most. I know people who just straight up lie about it. It's like, no, I actually took this photo. I was there. Like,
I went to Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, it's like I saw a stock Mark V Supra in the Swiss Alps, and like the reflections are wrong. There's like tree reflections on the car. I'm like, dude, that looks like
middle of the desert?
Yeah, I'm like, dude, that doesn't look like, I know this is in Colorado. I know whose car that is. Like, and he's like, no, we took it there. I'm like, stop talking to me. This is the same kid, actually. Same kid. But you know, it's like that's the only person I actually genuinely have beef with, because he's been so rude to me. You know, it's like, you can say no, just be nice. Like, right. I don't know. And he still texts me like every day. He's like, hey, how do I do this? How do I do, you know? I'm like, why are you texting me? You were rude to me. We stopped talking. Like, people are weird, man.
You know, I just remembered. I'm so sorry.
What?
We were in Texas 2K, and I texted Charles, and there was the building with the name Jacob on it.
Uh-huh.
You remember that?
Yeah,
it was literally just a big sign. I don't know why. That just made. I was looking at your face, and I just imagined Jacob over it.
So there's a Jacobs building in Denver, and people text me every day. I'm just like, can you guys stop texting me the Jacobs building? Like,
That's really funny. In Montreal, there's an actual insurance company that's called Jcytrynbaum Insurance. Has nothing to do with me or anything, or my family or nothing. But it's
wish it did. You'd be rich.
Yeah, I wish. I mean, like, listen, it's literally Jcytrynbaum Insurance, like my full name. Like, I don't know how they got
so
that.
funny.
I'm gonna sue them. I'm coming for you. Yeah, very weird.
But what's the photography scene like in Minnesota? Is it similar? Is it like a clan? It's clannish in Colorado, is how I describe it.
That is a part of it. So, at risk of Sean going to sleep here, because he's just been sitting here for 45 minutes. I'm so sorry, Sean. No, it's actually very similar. So yeah, you kind of have the clans, I guess. Kind of people like stick together. It's not necessarily like warring. It's just because Minnesota Nice is a real thing, and I don't know if you know what Minnesota Nice is. It basically is the rudest thing you could do, because they say Minnesotans are nice, but it's usually just passive aggressiveness.
Ah,
so that's kind of where it is.
like New York.
So it's almost worse.
So yeah, exactly. So if you're like, you know, so if you can't understand social cues, you won't pick up on it. You're like, oh my God, they're so nice. When in reality, they're being a prick. I'm a master at this.
Yeah,
of course.
But no, it's a great scene here. We have some amazing photographers here.
That's good.
I think follower-wise, I think I'm up there out of everybody.
I'm 99% sure I'm number one in Colorado. Which
followers are fucking worthless.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's like, I tell people this every day. They're like, oh, you're the king of Colorado. I'm like, no, I'm not, because the B-Stoffs, who used to have my job before me at Blue Chip, he's the GOAT. He's literally, I put him up there, like, he's my top 10 of all time, like, around the world. He's really good. I just saying, you know, follower count doesn't matter anymore. It's like, you know, just be a good person and be a nice person. And
exactly.
Be, you know, have a, you know, do good work and be good to your clients. And I'm guilty. Like, I think everybody's guilty of it. We mess up. You know, and just admit it when you do. You know, I've been late with clients, and you know, it's like I just explain to them. You know, I thought I could do this quicker. I can't. And you just be honest.
I did that 3 times this week. I'm like, hey, sorry, I got way too busy.
Yep.
But
it happens. It happens.
But no, here's the thing. I mean, there's a lot of great photographers here. A lot of people on the come up, and same thing. You know, it's kind of a revolving door. And I actually had one of the better photographers here in Minnesota, like one of the OGs. He's been doing it forever. He's not that much older than me, maybe like 10 years max. But anyways, he's got a house. But that being said, a few years ago, he took me to a Dunkin' Donuts, and he kind of was like, you shouldn't be driving other people's cars. Like, that bumper on that Ferrari is pretty expensive if something happens. He's like, and basically what he was getting at in our meeting is like, dude, just charge more because you're going to hurt the rest of us, which is reasonable. I totally get it.
Yeah.
And I'm still on the cheaper end, but I always raise my rates based off of the work I do.
That's how I am, except Colorado is terrible. You can't get anyone to pay. Like, literally nobody will pay, because we have a guy. God bless him. He's the nicest guy. He doesn't charge, and he's actually really good, and it hurts. It's like I cannot get anyone. I don't get any paid gigs in Colorado, honestly, like that with individual clients. It is very far and few between. There are a few guys who will do it, but they don't. You know, it's like there's no. That's why like B-Stoff's like one of the best. He left the car scene because you can't get paid. He does real estate now, and he's killing that too. But it's just like that's why I'm leaving Colorado, honestly, because I'm going to LA, because I know it's just as bad there. But there's more people, and there are people who will pay. And it's like more people understand the value out there. Nobody in Colorado understands the value. Shows come, like I had a show come to Colorado, and they just went again. People text me like, oh, why aren't you here, blah, blah, blah. It's because the guy didn't pay me last year. He owes me $1,000 from the show. You know, because that was still like cheap for what I was doing. I was doing a full video, like 15-minute after movie with, you know, me and another guy. And like, you know, that's still pretty, you know, I'm not making much off of that. For how much work it's going to take, you know, the 2 days of the show plus, you know, editing, it's a lot. And he never paid me, and he's like, oh, what, until he started talking bad about me. He's like, this guy never delivered. I'm like, you never paid. Like, our agreement was, I shoot, you pay, I deliver. And like,
that's how it's supposed to work.
That's how it's supposed
You're
to
not
be.
getting my fucking delivery until you pay me.
No, exactly. So I start taking deposits now, but I didn't know that back then,
Well, I
like,
don't even do the deposit thing. It's just a fucking headache. But the thing is,
Yeah.
but I probably should. But at the end of the day, it's like, I might give you a sneak peek.
I do.
But,
See, I do
yeah.
that. I do. I
Yeah.
gave it to him, and he
Blur out
posted
the
it.
background?
What?
You blur out the background, only show the car.
Yeah, I should. But
Yeah.
it's like, I don't know. It's just, it's such a shady industry sometimes, which sucks.
It really depends on who you work with. Because at the end of the day, like, if people know you for, like, the thing is, I've been around long enough in this scene. Like, people know, like, don't be a dick to me. Like,
I wish people knew that with me. They
it
don't
comes with
understand.
time, but at the
Yeah.
same time, like, I only try to work with honest people. Like, I try not to work towards, I'm not in the anything for a buck camp. You know, it's very difficult because when you're trying to make a buck off everything, then you end up getting some really shady shit.
I'm kind of, I'm like in between, but in a good way. It's like, I try to be, what I found out? Alex Penfold's day rate for unlimited photos is $800. Can you believe that?
That's pretty cheap.
That's what I'm saying.
For
But-
like what he
for what he
produces.
does, exactly. He's coming to Colorado to shoot this.
He's one of the goats.
He's top 5 for me. At
Top
least.
5 for sure.
Yeah, but and so I try to be fair. I try to be, and here's the thing. I'm almost willing to work with any budget. Not like there's obviously a limit to that, but I'm willing to work with you. If you're like, if I'm trying to, if I say, hey, this is my price, and you're like, oh, I can't do that, but I can meet you here. I'm willing to work. If you seem like a good person, I'm willing to work with you like that. And it's like, but then I have another quick story about
Go for
shady
it.
clients.
Yeah, before you jump into that,
Yeah, go
though,
for
did
it.
you know about this guy, Mark Scene Media? Have you heard of this guy before?
See, I know based on like.
The Style.
Oh, yeah.
He is
Yeah,
probably
yeah,
my
yeah.
favorite.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
this RWB shoot. Take a look at this, Sean. It's,
You know who my favorite is? Have you seen Kino Stance? I'm saying that wrong, but it's Kino Stance. He's somewhere in Europe. I'll say it's like he's like Penfold on steroids. It's nuts. But
dude, it's just crazy how good can be. Like that's why, like
It's
again,
nuts.
like people will think like, oh, like, and again, it's only like a handful of people that call me the GOAT, and I'm like, dude, I'm not even like, I can't hold a fucking candle.
I don't think
yeah.
I'm. We're not even like I'm not top 10%. It's like I might be close, but it's like
Maybe like locally.
locally, I like. I'm not one to be. I'm definitely like. I try not to. Be like, oh, I'm the guy. People call me the guy. I'm like, it's a joke at this point between all of us. But it's like, I know, like, I can't lie to myself and be like, I'm not in the top, 1% in Colorado.
Right.
Because there aren't that many of us. And I can think, I know, like, there are 10 of us who are really good. And, like, Charles and Matt are in that group. And it's like, but there's a few of us who are really good. And we all kind of beef with each other, which sucks. But I'm actually the only one who doesn't have beef with any of them. But I know a lot of them, like, fight with each other, and it's like I'm turned into a mediator sometimes, which is kind of weird
because like I'm in the camp, and that's what I try to do with the Minnesota scene here is like I try not to beef with anybody. Like I'm
Yeah.
in the camp of we're all in this together, we grow together. And I mean, I've been pretty good about that. Again, I'll talk shit. I'm a professional shit talker.
I am
like,
too. We do it for fun though. It's
yeah,
like,
but when people used to tell me like I had a few people like assume I had a big ego, so that's when I started saying, just to fuck around, I'm the greatest there ever was and ever will be.
Yeah.
And dude, people just die laughing every time they hear that.
no, it's funny. It's funny. It's just like at the end of the day, who cares? It's like honestly,
It's
because
fucking
like,
JPEGs,
well,
you
dude,
dork.
That's exactly it. Well, it's like that one kid with 2,000 followers thinks he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. I'm like, he thinks he's better than Penfold. I'm like, oh, it's like it hurts. But
Let me
anyways,
know when you're paying your medical bills via fucking JPEGs. And then we'll talk about how great you are.
But okay, so back to the shady clients. So,
Yes, please.
Funny story. Okay, so I try to only work with people who I like trust and know or whatever. So going back to that, so there's this guy. He has like 10,000 followers, whatever. So you judge a little bit on followers just to know a little bit.
A little.
So and he like a lot of people that I know follow him and people that he follows them or whatever. So I was like, okay, this guy's cool. He reached out for a shoot. He has an SS Camaro or whatever. Or what's the top one? Supercharged? I don't know. I'm terrible.
Z01.
Z01. He has that. And he reached out and he's like, hey, I want to do a shoot, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, that's fine. What's your budget? I was expecting like, oh, I don't know, $200 or something. He said $1,300. I was like, wow, what do you want? He's like, a 20-second reel. I'm like, I'm not going to charge you that. So I charged him about half. I was like, because he was insistent. I forget what I told him, but for the 22nd reel, I'm not going to charge you $1,300. I think we settled on $800. And I'm like, okay, how do you want to pay? Blah, blah, blah. He's like, can I do cash? I'm like, that's fine. Because I asked somebody else. I was like, hey, do you know this guy? He's like, yeah, I've met him before. He's cool. He's like, he seems, he's nice. I'm like, okay, great. And so I meet him the day of at a car meet, actually, because we were just both at the car meet. So I met him. Super nice kid. I mean, the best. But that ticked me off a little bit because I was like, wait a second, he's way too nice. And so, anyways, we get to that night, we do the shoot. I'm with 2 other guys, and then at the end of the shoot, I'm like, okay, let's payment, whatever. He pulls out a checkbook. I'm like, we didn't agree. I'm like, homie, we didn't agree to that. And he's like, I know, but I blah blah cash. He had to go buy. I guess he did have cash, but he didn't have the full amount. He's like, let me write you a check. I'm like, okay, whatever. So he gave me the check, and I didn't even look at it. I put it away, whatever. And so I get home and I look at it. It's $2,300. I'm like, bud, what? And so I immediately knew. I'm like, that's fake. There's no way. And so I go to my bank. I'm like, hey, can you verify? It's fake. It's from a closed account, whatever. I'm like, and so I text him like, hey, your check bounced. I'm like, because it would have. And I'm like, hey, your check bounced. He's like, bro, I just got out of jail. This is the next day. He's like, bro, I just got out of jail. I'm like, what?
So he's doing a photo shoot right out of jail.
Dude, no. He said, I got out of jail 20 minutes ago. Like the next morning.
Wait, what?
Homie, he said on the way home, I got a speeding ticket and went to jail. Here's the weird part. Okay, this story is weird. He sent me a picture of the ticket. It was from the previous night, like 45 minutes after we shot. And it was like, here's the thing. I don't think he forged a ticket. Because I've seen Colorado ticket. It was a ticket. Like
a whole plan.
Dude, I don't know. So it's like 10:30 in the morning. He's like, I just got out of jail. I'm like, what does that have to do with the check? He's like, oh, I'm trying to get back on my feet. Blah, blah. I'm like, he's like, my account got shut down because I went to jail. I'm like, what do you mean your account got shut down in 12 hours because you went to jail? Dude, I was dying at this point. By the way, you wrote my buddy a check too.
I just sent him the photos by then.
Yeah, dude. Honestly, I was like, dude, whatever. Yeah. I was like, and here's the thing. He asked for that night. He's like, hey, can I have a few photos as a sneak peek? So whatever. I put my basic preset on and sent him. I gave him 3 photos or whatever. I was like, okay, what's going on? He's like, and then it took a week of talking to this guy on off. He's so slow to respond. He's like, okay, my account's reopened. I'm like, dude, I got rid of the check. I'm not it's fake. I'm like, I know it's fake. He's like, okay. And then he got all defensive. And then all of a sudden he's like, okay, well, I'm sorry. How can we make this right? My mom's going to bake you a pie.
He said my mom's going to bake
Dude,
you a pie?
He's like,
what kind of pie?
No.
What kind of pie?
Here's the best part.
Was he lying about the pie too?
No. Here's the best part. He asked me that night too. He's like, you want a pie? I'm like... No, here's the best part.
Apple.
I'm like, okay, well, can you just Venmo me or something? And then he responds with, what kind of pie do you want? I'm like, dude, can we figure out the payment thing first, please? I would love a pie later. He's like, how about a cherry pie? I'm like, oh my God. Dude, and let me be honest, this kid, he was nice and genuine. So, long story short, I don't know. Eventually, he did Venmo me $800.
Oh, he did?
After
no
I
way,
said,
actually?
Yes. And so, this is the weird... I don't know what he was trying to do. Let me be real. Because, at first I thought he was trying to, backwards get into my bank account through the fake check or something. Dude, I'm still confused. I don't know what he owed my buddy money too for like $300 for photos because he did them too.
Did he offer him a pie too?
No, he literally didn't even reach out to him. He wouldn't talk to him. But so I think because I told him at one point I was like, dude, I'm gonna we know the same people. This is gonna be an issue if you make it an issue. I said that. And then he kept talking about the pie. I was like, he asked me about the pie 8 times. I'm like, so he's still asking me for another video now. And I'm like, dude, we're chill. But so at first I was worried he was in worried, he was in gang stuff just because he has
pie gang.
Well, so here's the thing, he has an $80,000 car he said he paid $80,000 or whatever. I don't know how much they are, but
about
he did not steal.
70 to 80.
Yeah. So he works
or
at
free.
Here's the thing, he works at a Nissan dealership. So I'm like, how are you making that kind of money? And he's like, I'm gonna trade this in for a Viper later this year. I'm like, so I was worried he was a drug dealer or something. I'm shocked he gave me that $800. Let me be real with you. But he did. It took about 3 weeks, but he Venmoed me. This is recent too. This is honestly, It's back to back. I shot his car, and then the next day was the anime car. It was literally back to back. It was like the weirdest 48 hours of my life. Jesus. But it's
I could not live your fucking life.
Dude, this is the weirdest. So anyways, if anybody knows what he was trying to do, I like asked him, I'm like, can he get into my stuff? Like, I'm like, they're like, what does he know about you? I'm like, he knows my name, and like he has my phone number, and that's it. And it's like, and they're like, no, you're fine. Like, he doesn't have you, because I didn't cash the check. Because I knew. I was like, it's like, why did he write me a check for $2,300? He's like, oh, he was like, I asked him. I literally, I got texted him that night, and I asked him later on, I'm like, why'd you try to give me $2,300? He's like, I was trying to tip you. I'm like, on a salary from Nissan, you're trying to give me $2,300. I still don't know how he took. Here's the other thing. How do you give me $800 for a 20-second video and like 5 photos from on a Nissan like mechanic salary? That's what's still. So I'm like, it's a little sketch.
He's slang a little bit.
Also, the guy, he was very nice throughout this whole thing, except when I like accused him of a fake check, and then he finally like admitted it. He was very nice. Like, and he sent me another video the other day, and he's like, bro, this video is licking, banging. That was it. I was like,
I'm fucking convinced that this guy owns half of the freezer section in Target and sells fucking pies. And he's a mechanic on the fucking side.
Dude, he's trying to pay me in pies. I was like, what are you, like, the night of, he's like, my mom's gonna cook you a carrot pie. I'm like, what's a carrot pie? I'm like,
you never offered apple?
No, he like offered, he tried to give me a cherry pie. I was like, dude, I don't want a pie. Like, thank you, but the funny part is I went and bought like an apple pie the next night. But I was like, to celebrate, it was so funny.
Oh, right after the
yeah, I went to Walmart, bought an apple pie.
Tasha shoot.
No, this was like after I got the money.
Okay.
Like, Angel was. I literally got the money when Angel was in town. Like all of them. It was like this was like right the week before we left.
That's like a week and a half ago.
Yeah, a week and a half. Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
All right, we're gonna go on our union lunch break. This is your podcast now.
But so long story short,
hilarious.
Get a deposit and don't take cash unless you know. Like you're saying, if I like first time, I always take a deposit, but second time, it's like if I know the person,
yeah, we're chill.
It's like, because I won't work with you twice if I don't like you. But long story, that was the weirdest. I don't know which one was weirder, honestly. Those I count those as one because it was in 24 hours with each other. It's like, dude, that happened.
That fucking pie story takes the cake. No pun intended.
Takes the pie.
Dude, I'm like, I still don't understand what he was trying to do with the fake check. Like, because I don't know if he was trying to scam me or if he just didn't want to pay. But like, did he really expect to get out of it? We know all the same people. It's like, I texted all these photographers because guess what he did right after our shoot? He started reaching out to all these other photographers. So he's trying to get shoots from other photographers still. Like the past week I've gotten messages like, hey, who is this guy? He follows you. I'm like, don't engage. Like, that's all I say. I'm just like, stay away. Because here's the thing. I don't want to tell people what happened.
Oh, you don't want to tell people what happened?
No, of course not. You have a different demographic, okay? And hey, if people in Colorado see this, I'm not saying his name. There's a lot of guys with ZL1s in Colorado.
Hey, he's a nice guy. That's all that matters.
He was very nice. And you know what? I give people that if they're nice. And he gave me that. He paid me eventually. And he didn't I wish he gave me $2,300. That would have been sick. But just for a 20-second reel, I wish that was that's Ronin money right there. That's what he charges in SoCal. Ooh, I need to get my game up right there. But yeah, so I don't know which one takes the cake for weirdest, most interesting shoot, but it's definitely
that one. No, it's fucking that one, bro.
Fucking cherry pie. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not even telling you half the story because like our conversations were just nuts. I mean, it was. I'll let you read the DMs. It's really interesting. It was like, I told him straight. I was like, straight up, dude, this is a fake check, and he got so offended. I was like, what do you want me to say? He's like, you know what? You're right. It's probably, he's like, oh, my bank account got shut. Well, I called his bank, and I was like, hey, what account is this? And like, this doesn't exist. But here's the thing. They were like, these are real checks. We don't know, but it's like the account number's wrong or something. I was like, so I don't know. The homie had like a checkbook like this big. I was like, it was a big yellow book. I was like, he had like probably 10,000 checks in there. I was like, why do you have so many checks? I was like, so look,
I'm done, dude.
Dude, I don't. And he didn't have a pen. He like walked in. We stopped at a gas station. He went in. And he's like, he asked the guy for his pen, and he like stole his pen. I was like, well, he didn't steal it. The guy gave it to him, but I was like,
the fine details of this fucking story, Sean.
Dude, this story is
getting deeper and deeper.
Yeah. Well, so you know what's crazy? My other buddy drives an identical red. It's an SS, but this is Alex. Alex was with me. This was the day he crashed his car. This was right before he crashed his car because we got hit on a way we were on the way to a different shoot. and it was right before his, and he got like hit or whatever. It was the weirdest 24 hours of my life. Let me be real. I was in a car accident. I had these 2 weird shoots. Like, it just weird. There was one more thing that happened. I can't remember now, but
it must have been a pretty bad hit.
yeah. It wasn't. Honestly, it wasn't that bad. It was like, I don't know, but it was a weird 24 hours. Let me be real.
I need a moment to sit with all that.
Decompress from
Need some water.
my
Yeah, you got smart water over there. If it's so smart, how did it get in the bottle?
oh,
Damn.
captured water.
Think about it. It's true.
And I just lost all the listeners with that
you
comment.
probably did.
We'll see you next time, kid.
No, dude, I need a moment for that to
Yeah.
settle in. Sean, do you have anything to chime in with before my brain reboots?
Oh man, I'm speechless right now. I literally just was thinking like I don't even know how to respond to this right now. But there's like a million things
it's
going
like-
through my mind right now.
I kind of want to go reread all the text to see what I'm missing because I know there was a lot more that happened there because like I was talking to this was like over the course of 3 weeks. It's like so there's a lot of it was funny. I was actually so Doug Hubs are big, like you know what Sheepy is obviously.
Yes.
Doug Hubs are Sheepy. Like they're like they actually make faster cars. They don't claim numbers like that because they like to not have their builds blow up. Long story actually, Sheepy like was in Colorado for a while. It's a weird story, but and they kind of like Doug Hub took over and Sheepy left Colorado. But long story to get into there's a lot of beef. But
Yeah, I've heard stories.
yeah. So I'm sure you know. But
Some.
Doug Hub. So they just built the world's first twin turbo R8 that's top mounted with 105 mils, and it makes 3,600 horsepower.
Yeah.
It's the coolest. And so, but here's the thing: they have an electric eel at their and so it's like, I was with these guys. These guys are such jokes. They're the funniest guys. And I was telling them the story about this Camaro guy, and they're like, send them a picture of our electric eel. I'm like, they have an electric eel in a tank, like a 6-foot long electric eel in a tank. This tells you how like crazy the shop is. It's really cool. They have the last random thing. They have the last car Carroll Shelby ever signed. It's a 2012 Mustang, the Shelby GT500 limited edition. Anyways,
Wow.
really cool because I'm a Shelby nerd. I was like, I freaked out when I saw that. But they still told me to send him a picture of that. I sent it to him, and he's like, "Is that a glizzy?"
What?
That's what he responded with. I sent him a picture of the electric eel because these guys told me to.
Electric glizzy.
No, and he's like,
Electric
it's like,
glizz.
by the way, it's 3 a.m. because we're tuning cars, and we're in the industrial district in downtown Denver where there's crackheads everywhere, and I have a lot of great Doug Hub stories, but that's for another. Charles and I almost got hit by Doug. He was doing donuts in this guy oh my god, there's so much in this, but he was doing donuts in this M3, like a brand new G80, and he like swung around and rolled backwards into us, and it was like. Doug Hub is like, I have so many Doug Hub stories. I've only been there 6 times, but like, it's always like 2 a.m. though. And so it's like, he like responded at 3 a.m. I'm like, by the way, this is 2 days after. He's like still trying to explain the jail thing to me and offer me pies. I'm like, he's like, is that a glizzy? I was like, at some point I was like, is this him talking? Because like, he was so different in person. I was like, so anyways.
Are you a real person?
That's what I was wondering.
NPC,
I'm like, what happened here? And this guy, I was like, dude, I don't even know where to start with, like, because there's so much more stuff in that story. But anyways, that's the main part of that story.
Dude, I'm just thinking about those turbos, dude. Like, they're so big, you have to worry about.
You want to see the video?
Yeah, I'd love to see it, dude.
Because so they just finished tuning it today.
You have to worry about a fucking bird strike with how big they are. No, I landed flat.
I'm sorry, what?
Let me see.
A bird strike, like airplanes when birds fucking fly in the engine.
Did you see that black R8 that I filmed?
Maybe.
I don't know. It's on my Instagram. I just posted it. This is that guy, but he
I
sent
did.
me.
That is insane.
So you see, I have a better photo.
Yeah. Hold up the video to that camera, that GoPro right there. Just because we can't pull it up. Just so anybody who's actually watching on YouTube, that is ridiculous. That's probably not even gonna register,
in
but
person, I mean,
Mental.
those turbos are huge. Like there they are. You can see them in that. I mean, they're huge.
oh my
They're
god.
huge. I mean, this car, like, so here's the thing. They don't dyno. They dyno their cars very safely, and that's one, like, big criticism they have of other shops is other shops push them too hard and then they blow up. Except for Assad's GTR, which he told them to push to the limit, and then you saw Assad at 2K, I'm sure. He was the Midnight Purple R35. There's only like 50
I've heard
of those.
about it, yeah.
Yeah, so he blew up like immediately because
Yeah, I heard about that, too.
Yeah, he pushed his car to 2,700 when the trans was only built for 24, and of course, straight in half. Like, literally his trans like cracked in half. It was crazy.
Like a pie.
He's blown like yeah, exactly. He's blown 8 transes. Anyways, because he won't
He
stop.
blew 8 trans. Okay.
No, 8.
Pause.
Hey, I didn't.
Moving
We're talking about cars. And so, but that's a dug-up car. And then, so they build GTRs and R8s, but that R8 is the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. It's the world's first top mount. And so it's actually going this weekend on the 11th to, I'll send you the info. It's called the Super Roll. And do you know who Mick Rippins is?
Yes.
Yeah, so he puts it on.
I think he
And
just had some issues with his Viper.
he did, yeah. But so he puts on the Super Roll in Kansas. I really wanted to go, but obviously I'm here and not going to be there. But so they're running it, and they're probably going to win because I mean it's 30 in the tie. Like these guys know how to build a car. They have who's the big tuner? I don't know if you'd know this. Rob Tuned. That's who it is. It's Rob Tuned, and so like that's their tuner. He lives in Dubai. Like, and he's like, this is the craziest thing. I didn't know like actually tuning worked until I watched Brit's car. He has like 1,400 horsepower, but I mean, it's still respectable and it's very fast. I've been in it. But so until like they were like sending codes back and forth from Dubai, and it's like that's why we're tuning at 3 a.m. because he's awake, and so. It was like
he's sipping on his coffee in the morning with a donut or something.
Exactly, yeah. This asshole.
Pie.
We were waiting for. I got there at 9 p.m. and I left at like 5 a.m. and I had finals the next day, like at like 7 a.m. I had finals for senior finals, but that's my life. But it was like I don't know. Anyways, if you've seen Fast and Furious, tuning is nothing like that. It's very slow and boring. You do a poll and you wait 2 hours, and that's actually when I edited that guy's video because I knew I don't know why I edited it, just because I don't know. I edited the anime car video during that. I edited both those videos during that time. It was weird. But yeah, weird. That was like the weirdest 4 or 5 days of my life because I did finals. I filmed so many videos. It was like the busiest I've ever been, except for right now. But yeah, weird. Welcome to Colorado, where everybody smokes weed and forgets what they're doing because they do shrooms as well. And
and you still haven't.
You write a fake check, you go to jail, you offer somebody a pie.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Man, do we have any stories like that here in Minnesota?
I have no fucking stories.
There's a guy here who owes me $3,000. Like I got people all over the country who owe me money, man. Come on,
Jeez,
I'm terrible at this.
my boy.
I'm really bad at like getting money. I have another guy who owes me Ferrari of Denver owes me $1,000. I'm terrible at getting money. Like if you ever book with me, just know you don't actually have to pay me. You just have to
Your DMs are flooded.
You just have to say you're gonna pay me, and I'll believe you.
And maybe throw in a pie or two.
And maybe throw in a pie.
There you go. Wow.
I think that pie would have been poisoned. Honestly, I was not about to take the pie from his mother. He kept saying he's like, my mom's gonna bake you a pie. I'm like,
his mother's a sweet fucking mother.
Yeah.
What's the problem?
I haven't met his mother.
What are you doing?
His mother did call him during the shoot, actually.
He's like, not now, Mom.
He was like, hang on, I have to take this. And
Jeez.
all right, Sean, what direction do we take this? Do we wrap this bad boy up?
I got more stories, man.
We're cooking at an hour. Do we want to be
takes.
here for another 3? This is the best emergency podcast ever.
Do you remember when we were in Texas and we were talking about our 3 cars that were going to be our daily?
I've changed. I actually just thought. So you know what's crazy?
And
Before,
show car.
right? That's why I texted you, because I was thinking about that and I changed my answers.
And
so
I
that's why I texted
was
you.
going to ask you, do you remember what your answers were from Texas?
I know one of them was a Mustang, like the Unicorn.
Yep, and it was
RS6.
it was also a Mustang for your daily.
Right. I've completely changed my answers.
A Mustang for your show car. So
No, that's not true.
Your answers was Mustang.
No, one of them was not a Mustang. I know that for a fact.
Okay, at first you did say Audi RS6 for your daily.
I may have changed
but then
it.
you changed it.
Oh, a GT350. You're right.
Correct.
Yeah, I've changed my answers a lot. We should explain this to Jack. We should explain.
Yeah, so the premise here, which I'll let Sean explain.
Yeah, so the premise is we started with his episode back in Texas.
Just Charles came up with it,
yeah,
right?
Charles wanted to know everybody's picks for a daily, a show car, and a track car.
He wanted 5 at first. We're like, no, that's too much.
That's too many. I don't even know what the 4 or 5 would be.
One was like a truck hauler, I think, and then...
We did. Yeah, let's just do the 3, though.
So
Let's go with the 3,
the 3 is great because you get unlimited budget and you're limited by your imagination.
Okay.
So you can go
So
wild.
mods, whatever.
Yeah.
All right.
Who was it? Is it show car, daily, and track car?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay.
That's difficult. I would say my daily, every single day, would be a...
Fiat 500.
I love my Fiat 500 manual. It's
This is
the
his
best.
favorite car.
I want to drive one of those.
Oh, the best. So reliable. Like you can anything put on the engine, it's fine. Daily, every single day would be a manual 911. I think it's the best daily car of all time. I would say Turbo S, but it's not manual, and I don't care. I have to drive a manual. I love a manual so much. I would say show car. Actually, my daily, I would say a Speedster, a manual Speedster.
Okay.
Yep.
They make a Porsche manual Speedster.
They do.
Of course.
They do.
Yes.
Nice.
My
It's
uncle has
limited.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nuts. Track car. This is between Viper ACR or I don't know. I took my Fiat around the track one time. He was mental. I took my cousin. My cousin has a BMW M2 with a chip in it, and he said if you drove the BMW with me like you drove the Fiat, I think we would have died. Like I swear, I was on 2 wheels one time. But
Okay, no. Do you hear what he just
This
said?
guy's the craziest driver.
No,
He
like-
just compared an ACR to a fucking Fiat.
This guy, when I tell you he loves his Fiat 500,
oh my God, it is
he
the
would drive
ultimate
this
car.
car almost like over any
I
other
would
car.
do the road trip in that car.
That's me with the
I-
Golf, dude.
Yeah, listen, I love a Golf.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also love the new GR Corolla. I love that car.
No.
Yes. Just overpriced, but yes.
Yes,
Perfect.
correct. I agree.
So track car.
Track car, I would say probably Viper ACR or
Good one.
honestly, not even a 765. I'd say a 720S. Crazy
Really?
around the track.
Well, it is more meant for track than a 765. So yeah.
but if I had honestly, if I had to pick one, a Ariel Atom.
Oh boy, here we go.
An Ariel Atom.
That car will
which
kill
one is
you.
it? No, it's the best.
I love
No,
watching
it'll-
this thinking
Or
process
the
unfold.
Bach Mono.
No. Oh, I love that car too. Or Myers Manx. That does make sense.
Oh, I haven't heard of that one.
No, track car, I'd say an Ariel Atom 350R or whatever it's called.
Yeah, that's
I
what it
love
is.
that.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
then for my show car, I would have to go with a fully tuned, as much money as you can into it, Millennium Jade AE86 from like
Fair
85.
enough. Oh, you do love an AE86.
Favorite.
We need to convince him.
Sean,
by the way,
pull that up.
We need to.
It's the tofu car.
Yeah.
We need to convince him to bag and
like
put wheels on the
But like
400.
in the Millennium Jade color. I don't know if they actually have one, but
Oh, okay.
pretty sweet.
oh my god,
That
it's
is
the
a.
Tofu car.
best. Yeah, tofu car.
Yeah. Okay.
That's my favorite car of all time.
They are cool.
Sick.
But I would not want to daily it.
All right.
No, you wouldn't.
No, not at all. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's an amazing car.
Yeah.
No.
All right.
For
well,
sure.
Good choices.
I like it.
that.
Yeah.
Nice choices. Now we just gotta get bags on the 400Z.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so you said your taste has changed.
Completely changed. Okay. So
He's got more of a taste for pie now.
I do. So little story.
E63 hentai car.
I have to preface this with the story. So Devin, I don't know. Some people will know who Faster LLC is. LA, big car collector. Really weird because this guy's like 25 and they have about $200 million in cars. I'm sure they're his dad's, but they bought a Pagani Zonda Revolution. I don't know how to say it. Revolution or whatever the hell, I don't know how to say it.
Very Italian.
It's blue exposed carbon with black. I'll pull it up. It's the most beautiful car ever. He let me sit in it and I heard it and it sounds insane. That's the track car. It's $10 million. They only made 5 of them. They're all different colors, but his is the best car.
Oh, I've seen a photo of this car.
So I got to show you.
It's stunning. Didn't they have it at like one of the Pagani dealerships?
They did. So
Yeah.
it was on. I don't know why he sent it to the other side of the country, but I mean,
Yes,
it
that
is.
car.
So that's what I would. Here, I'll show the camera.
That blue carbon would turn white real quick, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. But you can't take. Here's like. It's a track car because it's not street legal. And it's like, I don't understand why you spent $10 million on it, but, to each their own. And if you have the money, you have the money. So that's my track car. Daily is still an RS6. It has to be. I mean, I actually got to drive one at Blue Chip, or drive in one. I didn't get to drive it. I wish. But it's awesome. And it was stock. I was like, so if I did 1,000 horsepower, stage 2, whatever, and like with wheels and everything, perfect daily. I love that. My show car, I've completely changed my mind because I've changed what I actually want to do in the future. I still want to build a 1965 Ford Mustang unicorn style, but I want to actually create a car from scratch doing that is Mustang inspired. But I actually want it to be, because the Mustang is a small car, I want it to be bigger. So I'm actually going to just like 1.2 times it. I actually have like all these diagrams. I don't know if you know who Cam Koklas is. But he built a SEMA tube chassis A86 in his garage, and he kind of inspired me to do this. He's like,
is that the one that looked like really crazy, like in the?
It's the one Charles
Bay?
just posted like 4 hours ago.
Okay.
Yeah, check it. It's cool. It's cool. But he has an LS3 in it, whatever. I want to put a F1 V8 in it with supercharged and twin turbo, 2,600 horsepower. It has to be all-wheel drive, obviously. My friend asked me that.
This car, dude.
It's going to be a tube chassis car. And so that's, I don't know. It's similar to what I said before, but it's definitely, but the track car changed a lot. It's like Mustang would suck. The Pagani, I heard one at Car Week, and I think it was the Wyra R or whatever, but even still, I mean, they just sound, you straight pipe it as a track car, and you could hear it from half a mile away.
It's even better than a fucking V12 SVJ.
Oh my! If you disagree, you're wrong. It's the best sound ever.
It's the V12, which is super fucked because it's a Mercedes V12, isn't it?
Yeah, straight up sounds like an F1 engine.
Yeah.
I mean,
Incredible.
Yeah, it sounds.
Yeah.
It's the most godly sound I've ever heard.
It's like, perfection.
Yeah, it's so much better in person too. So yeah, that's my. I mean, they haven't changed too much, but track car definitely not a Mustang.
Our little Jacob's growing up.
Yeah,
in
it didn't
taste.
change much.
No, but I mean, I don't know. For a daily, like honestly, like an R6 would be great, but if I chose like a 2-seater, honestly, that 400Z wouldn't be bad because it's small and it's like pretty decent on fuel economy. It gets like 25 miles a gallon. Yeah. We've had to convert it from liters. Oh my God, this has been the most confusing thing ever. It does liters per 100 kilometers. Bro, my brain is broken because it goes backwards. It's like, it's not like, it doesn't go up. I'm so confused. I'm going to be honest. I still
it's
can't.
It's a Canadian car, so it's also in KPH.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I can do that.
You could have told the Montana officer or Wyoming officer.
We did.
Don't worry.
It's in KPH.
So
don't worry.
It has KPH.
Okay, so it has KPH right on the top, but at the bottom right, little thing where it shows miles per hour. But he was on the passenger window, so you didn't see it. So I was like, oh, I don't have it in miles per hour. Like, I don't know what you're saying.
And he still didn't let us off with a break. What an ass. He's definitely racist.
For sure.
He looks so racist.
Yeah.
You guys don't stand out, so I'm sure you would have fit right into Wyoming.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I do. He doesn't.
No, I mean, listen.
Here's the thing. We walked into a Dairy Queen. Everyone's wearing denim. He's like, that guy has like spikes on his feet, but he had spurs on his boots. I kind of grew up in like an area.
That's not what I freaked out about.
Hang on. I grew up in an area like this, so I'm like really used to this. Like I'm wearing denim. He's the only one wearing not denim. He's wearing shorts.
Listen, I wear denim all the time. That's not
they
the
look
point.
at you like an alien. They looked at me like I totally because
like
I'll talk I'll talk with that accent when I'm in that area just because people look at me weird if I don't.
You're a poser.
Oh, 100% a poser. I don't care. I don't want to get shot by a redneck.
No,
it was the weirdest
the one
thing.
thing I was confused is that like I've never been out to that side of the country, so I didn't know like cowboys are real, man. Like I'm telling you, like no, listen. There was this guy, okay? He had spurs and on his shoes, and like he's wearing denim and whatever, and he's wearing the straw hat because it's summer. You don't wear a leather hat, you wear a straw hat.
Cowboys wear straw
hats. But you
in the
understand?
summer.
It was like almost falling off his head, like on the back, and he was walking like chest up, like walking in the bathroom like this, but like fully normal. And I was like, this is what you see in the fucking movies. Like I was freaking out. It was amazing.
We should do like
it was
30
in a
minutes.
Dairy Queen.
It was in a
That's
Dairy
wild.
No, but everyone was like that. And then there was a back room in the Dairy Queen where there was just like 7 of these characters. Like I wanted to take a picture. Like
wait. We should do
it's
30
amazing.
minutes of Jack's takes on America that he didn't know. Like he didn't know. He thought lightning and thunder were the same thing. He didn't know.
No. I thought thunder was like lightning, just like boosted. I don't know.
He thought thunder
lightning with a
was the
supercharger on it.
plural of lightning. He thought that lightning and thunder were exactly the same. But I had to explain to him that lightning, like thunder, is the sound that lightning makes. You were like baffled.
Listen. I wasn't aware. Okay. I now know.
He didn't get the fucking memo, bro.
Let's leave it at that.
The lightning took out his internet.
What else has surprised you about America? Wait, tell the Ottawa story. Or no, the...
Oh, yeah. I lived
in
in Quebec my whole life. And, it's French Canadians and French and English and all that stuff. But you hear all these stories in Ontario, all the people, hey, bud, Barsky on the tendy. Like, they talk like that. And I was like, I've never really met someone like that. Even in Toronto, when I go, I've never met someone like that. So we're driving through northern Ontario, like, fucking nowhere. And we see this abandoned gas station. So I'm like, shit, let's take photos there. It's super cool. We pull over. We're taking photos. I see some guy, whatever, with a helmet on a Grizzly, a Yamaha Grizzly, if you know what that is, like a little 4-wheeler. And He comes up to us. I swear to God, I wanted to burst out laughing. He was like, "Hey, bud, is that the new 300Z?" I'm like, "No, it's the 400." He was like, "Oh, it's got how many cylinders?" He misspelled like.
He asked if it had a 4-banger.
He was like, "Is it a 4-banger? Like how many cylindricals or something?" He said something like that.
Yeah. It was
so dumb.
that was
and then like I was
interesting.
dying because I look at Jacob after. I'm like, I thought that was like a myth. Like I didn't know people like that really existed. So,
Wait,
like,
what else surprised you about America though? Because you had a few really funny things.
I didn't know as many people lived in Montana as they do. There's like 1 million people that live there. I thought it was like.
Did you know there's only 2 escalators in the state of Wyoming?
Correct.
And the Capitol
heard that.
building. Yeah,
Correct.
it actually
Really?
it's true.
I think
That's where I buy my fireworks from. By the way, if you're in Colorado, you go there.
Omaha or Wyoming, it's like one of those states. The tallest building is only like
It's Wyoming.
10 stories tall.
It's Wyoming. Yeah.
It's Wyoming.
It's Wyoming.
Their tallest skyscraper is only 10 stories
No,
tall.
Omaha actually. My whole family's from there. It's like actually big.
Oh, okay.
People get that wrong, but no, Wyoming, least populated state, 2 escalators, and you can go do whatever you want on your land. It's like the Wild West out there.
Yeah,
It really is.
We were going by this road and there was all these ranches, but they had the funniest names. Like there was Double D Ranch, Big D Ranch. I swear my life I have pictures.
You know,
Big
in
D Ranch.
Utah,
I swear
there's
my
a-
life-
there's
it was
a-
incredible.
if you
it was
drive-
like these people. It's like it reminds me. Honestly, it reminds me of like Amish people. Like they're so like.
That's what he was saying. He's like cowboys are like Amish people. I'm like, the cowboys actually like do things still. It's like they actually have real jobs. But
Yes, I
so
know, but, like-
in Utah, by the way, if you drive I rode from Colorado to California from Utah, there's a road. Utah's Mormon, obviously, and
Very.
there's a road called Sinbad Road, and there's a town called Sinbad,
Yeah.
and they take it very seriously because sinning is bad.
Correct.
It's on a sign. It says we take this seriously because sinning is bad. It's my favorite thing I've ever seen. So if you ever get the chance to drive that Sinbad Road, it's a journey.
Indubitable.
America.
Wow.
What else surprised you though? It's like because you haven't spent you've been to parts of America.
I've been mainly to the East Coast of America, but I haven't really been. I've only been out west a few times. I've been to Cali once, like 6 years ago, and that's pretty much it. I've been skiing in Utah. That's basically it.
Did you see any Mormons?
Yeah, I was ordering drinks at dinner, and I ordered a tequila something and like another thing for like later, and they were like, okay, but we have to bring it out at like 2 different times. And I asked why, and the person said, the waitress or whatever, you're not allowed to have 2 drinks in front of you at the same time. It's illegal. I was like, that's the most Mormon shit I've ever heard.
You wanna
no
hear-
disrespect. I think that's cool.
You want to hear a
However,
dumber
interesting.
law? So in Colorado, okay, so my buddy and I were towing. If this tells you how like I grew up in the city, but I'm like more country, honestly. We were towing a trailer, like a 40-foot trailer, like dually, whatever, with 12 round bays of hail. And if you hay, sorry, not hail. And we get some baseball size hail, that's for sure. But
Thunder.
we actually just had that. But so they're like a ton each. They each weigh a ton, and we had 12 of them, and they're stacked too high because that's the limit. And we get pulled over. We're like, what's going on? Whatever. My buddy's driving. I'm there. I'm just there. And the cop goes up. He's like, why you got so many bays of hail? I'm like, hey, not hail.
Yeah, it's not hail.
It's been a long road trip.
It's been a long, yeah, it has. And we're like, oh, we're just, we're towing it and it fits on the trailer. We're not, are we breaking any laws? Like, actually, yeah. You can only have 10 bays of hail. Or hay. 10 bales of hay. I keep saying it wrong. Bales of hay at a time. You can only have 10 of these. And we're like, why? Is it a weight thing? It's like, no, you can only have 10 of the round ones. It's like the square ones. You can have more. You got a $500 ticket for having 12. For having 12. You can only have 10. It's like, he's like, it's not a weight issue or anything. It's just like, you can't have 12. You can have 10. So
sense.
if you want to hear a dumb law, we got a $500 ticket for that. You show up in court.
Makes sense. If you think
No,
about
it really
logically.
doesn't because we could have fit like 4 more.
No, but if you think about it logically, hypothetically, theoretically, from like a certain perspective, like it will make sense. So you
Whoever
just have
wrote
to,
that
like,
law
dig
in
deep into
Elizabeth County.
Whatever the fuck you just said.
it. You have to
He
just
says it every day in the car.
listen.
He
You have
says
to
that
just
about,
dig
like,
deep and
random
understand. You just
stuff.
have to understand. That's it.
You would be a fantastic lawyer, my friend.
Listen.
I'm listening.
It was just a prank, bro. You tell the judge that
Hey,
it's over.
Elizabeth County can fuck off because that's the only place I ever got a ticket. I got a ticket for going 2 miles an hour over the speed limit. Had to show up to court an hour and a half from my house, and immediately they were like, "You're dismissed. You don't even have to pay the fine. No points, nothing." It was a 4-point ticket for $400 for, yeah. And they're like, "Oh, we just wanted to meet a quota." I was like, I didn't have to show the. I was like, literally walked in 2 minutes, gone. Took me an hour and a half to get there. I was like, bro, I missed a day of school for this. I'm like, you kidding me?
Not that you care or not.
No, I don't care. But, no, my attendance rate was terrible. I have a screenshot of my 63% attendance rate with a 4.3 GPA. I'm like, I'm gonna show this to people when when people ask, does school matter? It's like, well, not if you do fun stuff. But Elizabeth County needs some new management, in my opinion. It's
and this is why I'm running for mayor.
Right.
This is why, their sheriff is a dick. I know. He lives next to my buddy, and he builds fire trucks in his spare time. And this guy, he actually...
That's so American.
Dude.
I build fire trucks.
This guy, so we burned a piano in my buddy's backyard.
What?
For a movie.
How did we get here?
What is going on?
I don't know.
So I filmed the movie, and like the climax is like he burns a piano, whatever. My buddy's there, like from we have the fire department there, the whole thing. The mayor tries to come shut us down, even though we have the permits and stuff. And my buddy literally was a firefighter. He's like, you can't do this. Like he has the proper permits, whatever. He's like, no, you can't do this. This is, because like out there, your property laws, it's your property. You can do whatever you want. And if you, like for a fire, you just need a permit and like a fire truck to show up or whatever. And my buddy's a firefighter, so it's like it was easy. This guy like literally came over and like with a bucket of water and just like dumped it on the piano. And then we just put more gasoline on it, but I was like, he's like, and then he left. But weirdest thing. And then next door, some other dude moved in. My buddy Mario, he has this like, he has like 8 acres, and which isn't a lot, but it's enough land, and they have horses and stuff. And this guy's like the most racist. Not Mario. Mario's Mexican, but the guy next door, racist. Started shooting his cats, bro. He had like 20 cats, and then all of a sudden, like 3 months later, he had 5 cats. Like, where'd my cats go? You could see them in the neighbor's yard, dead. He's like, they were on my property. It's like, just throw them back. Like, people say Texas is crazy, but I think Colorado's worse, man. Colorado is a purple state, which makes it so much worse. It's like,
that's so funny.
You get blue, purple. It's like my buddy Zach. I told you about this guy. The guy who, so my buddy Zach, he drunk driving is his passion. This is his calling in life.
It's not a passion, it's a sport. You don't drink and drive,
right.
You drink before you drive.
You're right. It's a sport.
Come on now.
So Zach, my buddy, he randomly, this guy, for reference, he does like air conditioning. He climbs in or whatever. He bought a Peterbilt. Like one day he sent me a photo of like $13,000 of cash. I'm like, what are you doing? And the next photo he sends is a Peterbilt. Like, I just bought this. I'm like, this is the same guy I got pulled over with the hay bales, by the way. But I'm like,
he needs the Peterbilt to transport.
Well, so I was gonna say, are you using a Peterbilt? He's like, no, I just want a Peterbilt to drive around to jobs. I'm like, okay, whatever. So if that tells you anything about this guy, so he was out this is before I met him, but I have another really funny story right after about this guy.
That'll be the last one.
That'll be the last one. It will be. But okay. So he was out one night. He was telling me this story. He's like, yeah, I was like really drunk. I think I had like 40 beers because this guy drinks like a whole 24 pack a night. Nuts. I don't know how people do this, but that's like blue collar worker, and they drink, and then this is like a lifestyle out there. He's like, I wanted to beat the county record for how many mailboxes you can hit. Like, bro, what? He's like, the record was held by my no in his truck. Okay. This guy, he's like, the record was 38. He's like, I hit 40 and I won, and I went to jail. I was like, well, I was like, so this is what I realized, like where I was, who I was hanging out with. I was like,
self-accomplishment.
I was like, bro, and like he showed me pictures. He like took drunk pictures of this. I was like, you could see all the mailboxes. Just like the next day when he got out of jail, he like took pictures. I was like on this one street. It's just a straight street. You can just see all these mailboxes, and they're all like, you can see houses aren't close together. So like he probably went like half a mile just hitting mailboxes. I was like, and the front of his truck was like fine because he had like the push bar or whatever. But the other story about this guy is, okay, so I was filming for my movie. Again, I film a lot of my movie out here. And we were at we were trying to do this scene where this guy gets in a fight, he punches him, and throws him through a table. And he's drunk, of course, because we're at his house. And he's like, what if I do the scene? I'm like, okay, great. So I'm like, he wanted to get thrown through the table. I was like, because the other guy didn't really want to do it. So I was like, okay, great. So he's like, it comes time for the scene. Like my buddy fake punches him. He like falls to the ground. I'm like, that's not what you're supposed to do, but I keep rolling with it. He gets up, walks up the stairs. I'm like, Bo, you can't, like, I stopped filming at this point. I'm like, what are you doing? He gets on top. It's like a story and a half high. It's probably like 20 feet. He jumps off through the table. Bro, I don't know what Lifetime tables are made of. It didn't break. He hit it. Dude, homie went. Dude, he went back up. He went up about 6 feet.
Seriously?
Yeah, and hit another table that was like next to it. He like destroyed. There's all this beer on this table too because we like had it set up like for the movie. But like he hit it. He bounced like 6 feet in the air and landed on this other table. Got back up and like he's like, I'm gonna go again. And we like had to stop him. Dumbest. So if that tells you anything about, so you asked where I grew up. That's where I grew up, man. It's like this is what we did for years. It was the most. I have so many stories from that place. It's just like the most interesting people you'll ever meet in your life. That was Zach Dillinger. I love him. He's my favorite person. He's so funny. I don't know what he's doing. He's probably still working his AC job, but you know, by the way, this guy's like 20 right now. So if that tells you, you know, I don't know what he's going to do with his life, but he has like 3 DUIs. He ran away to Wyoming when he was 14 and like got arrested for that. I don't know. This guy, he's a character, but God, he's the funniest guy I've ever met. He's so awesome.
Dude, every time you come through town, you are welcome here to be on the podcast.
Dude, I got so many. It's like people like, you don't, I'm like, I think I don't live an interesting life. Like I threw a rock at Jennifer Aniston's dog when I was 3 years old.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I know. It's like, that's a weird story.
No more stories.
No more stories. That is the story.
I'm running out of space.
We'll save it. But it's like people are like, you live an interesting life. I've realized recently. I'm like, I kind of do. Yeah. Like I have some. It was at Courtney Cox's house too. Like
You know what you'd be really good at? Streaming.
probably. Yeah.
Dude,
If you ever got into streaming,
I would hate streaming though.
But that's the whole thing. Like
I would say
the
some
people, the
stupid
people that
shit.
just watch are like, give us a story,
No.
and you just be like on one, and everybody would just
Dude,
be.
I have so many.
They could sit there for hours
I've
listening to
remembered
you.
like 8 stories just like telling these other stories.
Exactly.
It's like unlocking memories.
Your,
It's like
your stories feed off of each other.
God, I forget like how much dumb stuff I've done, but I'm also like I've like been sober my whole life. Never had like any alcohol. Well, I've had a like little bit like because I'm Jewish and they make you drink Manischewitz for your bar mitzvah or whatever and holidays, but that stuff sucks. But yeah, I've never smoked like none of that. But it's like I still people are like you can't have fun without that. I'm like, bro, I think I have more fun than you guys. Like that's just my opinion. But
L'chaim.
L'chaim, exactly. Exactly. But that's my life in a nutshell. Anime cars, pies, and tables with rednecks.
Is that the title of the
Yeah,
episode?
he just made the title for us.
Sick. I don't have to waste my time putting up with something.
His Instagram handle, by the way, is redneckfarmer69. If you'd like to follow him on his Peterbilt adventures. Oh yeah, that's
And
nuts.
that's exactly what we're going to ask you next.
Yeah.
All right, so what's your socials?
It is Unrecxgnized with an X instead of an O. Don't ask me how to spell it because I can't.
And JCYTRYNBAUM. If I pronounce it, you won't be able to understand. So there you go.
No.
What? No, pronounce it.
Jcytrynbaum.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yes.
Kinda.
And then I am one MN Mopar. Find me on Instagram, and that's about it.
And you know me. So,
You know him.
till next time,
I know you
guys,
better.
thank you, Jacob.
You're welcome.
And,
Thanks
oh
for
my God,
having
it's been
us.
so long since I
Jake.
heard your name. Jake or Jack?
Jack.
Jacob and
See?
Jack.
Oh, my gosh.
I was going to say Jack, and then Sean said Jake.
Jacob and Jack traveling across the country in a Z. In both countries. Two countries.
Yeah, it was great to
Going
meet
to
you
Mexico
in
now.
Texas. It's great to meet you here. You're my favorite French Canadian ever. I hope you know this now.
I'm not a French Canadian. Do not take that.
He's English.
I'm English. I'm not French Canadian.
Oh, you're
I do speak
English.
French.
Okay, gotcha. But you're in like French
Nah, I
Canadian.
do not
country.
talk like this.
Wash.
Esti. That's how they say.
So you're not French.
I'll make fun of them. I don't care.
Okay, we had to cover that.
No,
video.
I'm not French. I am English. I'm just like you American people.
He's French.
God bless freedom.
See you next time.
See ya.